morning. It's Thursday, December 5th. This morning, I was in 2 John, one chapter in that book, 2 John, verses 5 through 6. And now I ask you, dear lady, which would be the church, the body of Christ, or the bride of Christ. And now I ask you, dear lady, not as though I were writing you a new commandment, but the one that we had from the very beginning, that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, so that we should walk in it. It's interesting because John, by this time, he's an old man, somewhere about 90 AD. So he's about 90 years old. And like most believers I know, as they grow older and the longer and longer they walk with the Lord, they begin to realize this whole thing is about loving God and loving your brother and sister and loving the people in the world, loving them. That's the way Jesus lived. That's the way Jesus walked. And so John, being an old man, he doesn't have much more to say. He says, and now I ask you, dear lady, not as though I were writing a new commandment. He says, this is nothing new. This is what Jesus taught us from the very beginning, that we should love one another. That we should care about one another. That we should put each other first. That we should be more concerned about the person in front of us than ourselves. So we need to listen to what they have to say. We need to only share the words that Jesus gives us with them. That we need to love God and love one another. And then he says, and this is that we walk according to his commandments. This is love, that we walk according to his commandments. If we love, we will walk according to his commandments. Love is the priority. Seeking Jesus, receiving love from him, spending time with him, and then loving others. That's what John tells us to do. This is a commandment, just as you've heard from the beginning, so that you should walk in it. It's interesting because John goes on and he starts talking about false preachers and deceivers. He doesn't say you put up with them, but you love them. You don't listen to them. You don't waste time with them. You don't let them into your house, he says. But that doesn't mean you don't treat people decent the way Jesus did. We're called to love one another. The longer we walk with Jesus, we realize more and more that's what God's called us to do, is love him and love one another. Because that's the way Jesus lived. Thanks for listening to me today.